peaceful people, struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We're gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow, but never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere, make no mistake. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass.
We love the open county of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, daytime or night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right.
We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We are a peaceful people, struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We're gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow, but never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere, make no mistake. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass.
We love the open county of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, daytime or night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right.
We ain't giving up no mountains. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up no river.
This is Quincy Anderson. You know I love my country. There's no other country better than mine. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Hey, hey, Guyana is nice, Guyana is fun, Guyana is clean, Guyana is green, Guyana got oil, Guyana got gold, Guyana got young and Guyana got old. I ain't talking no more. Guyana got things, we growing wings and developing things. The government real and that's a big deal. I'm singing from my heart, Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I... This is Quincy Anderson. You know I love my country. There's no other country better than mine. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call is nice, Guyana is fun, Guyana is clean, Guyana is green, Guyana got oil, Guyana got gold, Guyana got young and Guyana got old. I ain't talking no more. Guyana got things, we growing wings and developing things. The government real and that's a big deal. I'm singing from my heart, Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place
Oh yes. A lot of you gon' vex, but I tell you, sometimes you just got to listen. There's a child in every home and every community. They will grow up to be symbols of unity. They'll be colorblind to race and ethnicity. That's the vision of a leader like President Irfan Ali. I'm talking about the one Guyana where our people can live in peace, where every race trusts each other, where racial prejudice no longer exists. Our children will have one Guyana to grow up in a land united and free with equality and blessed with prosperity. For too long we've been fighting one another. It's race against race, but in the end the country suffer. Oh, we were born here, not in India nor Africa. But if we can't get along, the foreigners gon' eat we suffer. We must put an end to racism. Let it end now with this generation. Together we'll develop this nation. Make Guyana the gem of the Caribbean. Don't listen to them wicked politicians who will divide us to win an election. Believe it or not, Guyanese no smarter than that. Yeah, I told you, it's your boy Podmore. Unity is the key. We are all one and we should be treated as one. Our ancestors.
Good morning, and welcome down to Livewire. It is the 29th of August, 2024, and we're here for yet another episode. Morning to all the persons joining us on the live. Morning to the persons across the regions. Morning to the persons across the diaspora. I trust everybody had a restful night and they're ready and rearing to go. I know my guests are. Today, I know the flyer only had 2 counselors, but we are expecting Councillor Dancing as well as Councillor Alfonso de Armas, along with Councillor Jacobs and former Mayor and Councillor Madam Patricia Chase Green. to discuss some of the new developments at City Hall. Now, yesterday we spoke about a, was it yesterday or day before? Well, we spoke about um, City Hall passing a new policy which writes off, or well, brings some relief to political parties. And I was saying to y'all something fishy about it, right? I even called a contact that I have at the City Hall admin department, which clearly stated that these properties, given their size and stuff like that, they accrue different rates. So I said on a previous program that I'm absolutely, or I think I said 98% sure, Congress plays over set of taxes and BAPs, BAPs. Look what we find out yesterday, right? So before we jump into that, morning to all the people in the comment section already. Rahim Amarali, Ramnarain Singh, Balwant Danraj, Ella Bagmati, morning to you. Prem Prashad, Ganesh Bharat, Rajendra Singh, Joan Abidjan, morning to you. Eunice, morning to you, and Rita. Roger Fong, morning to you, and Emperor Fong as well. King Emperor, actually, not Emperor Fong, King Emperor. Um, Mohammed Isaf, Neil Ramlokan, morning to you. Anthony Wong, morning to you as well. Omar Sharif, good morning to you. Wazim Nabi, Pam, morning to you. And Trevor, Gita Prasad, morning to you. Tulsi Ramchetty, Raji Maraj, Lenny Lashman, Rupert Messiah, Showin Siram, Dionan Suku, morning to you. Sunita Sokraj, Vijay Lacha, Gita Prasad, Maureen Razio, Shanti Singh, Denita Rupnarain, good morning to you, and was really nice seeing you the other day in Georgetown. Lash P, morning to you, brother. Alan Khan, morning to you. Norman Aziz, Betty Chris, Philip Diabru, Mazo Inshan, Dudnat Prasad, uh, Rihanna Juman, morning to you. Morning to little Rihanna Juman, and the little one. I hope everybody is doing well. Bibi Kalicharan, morning to you. Uh, Jamila Kayum, Jasoda Bodram, Leslie Mongol, Henry Jagdio, good morning to you. Nirmala Allen joining us from Barbados. Special good morning to you. Ormela Gosai, Ronald Jones, Jean Cornelius, Ian B. Pat, Vishnu Narain, Nadia, morning to you. Philip Gonrad, Jagnarain Edwards, good morning to you. Who else we got here? Rennie Prashad, Billy Says Narain, Rajendra Mahes, Mark, Mark, Mark Alt. I'm supposed to know this last name. This is bad. Mark Alt. Morning to you, brother. Everything going good. Um, Krishna Deodat. Morning to you. Deshaun Abrams. Cesarine Samaru. Miss Bob. Morning to you. A good morning to Brittany as well. Brittany changed her license plate. Nonsense. Marlene Boyce, morning to you. Happy to hear that you're feeling much better and you're up and about. Um, who else we got here? Christopher Prasad, Mohammed Yusuf, Farina Wong, Prembashal Danbir, morning to you. Babita Sims, morning to you. Anetta Williams, Asif Hamad, good morning. Morning, everybody. Ricky Knott, Paula Spencer. What? Right, good. So, yesterday, as you would know, the vice president would have had his press conference a day earlier. Nevertheless, for persons who were not able to see the press conference yesterday, there will be a rebroadcast of the press conference today at its usual time. So have no fear. The General Secretary presser will be here at 2 p.m. today, although it was yesterday. It will be rebroadcast today at 2. Also, before I jump into it, how could I forget? How could I forget? How could I forget, people? This is bad. Now, I must let you guys know that today as well on the west side, well, persons would know yesterday they had the turning of the sod for the reconstruction of the Linden Like Highway. And persons are very excited about that. A lot of persons turned out to that event. And again, today in Region 3, there will be the official commissioning of the Schooner to Crane 4-lane highway, right? This will be happening at 5 p.m. Livewire. Wow, sorry. Livewire TV will be on the scene, broadcasting live, bringing you this event. Um, and this here will bring a lot of ease, partial ease, to the residents on the in Region 3, or those commuting from Region 3 to Region 4 or back, or vice versa. And I say partially is because it goes hand in hand with the bridge that is under construction currently. So when the bridge is complete, the 4 lane is being commissioned today. Once those two start working in tandem, the traffic woes of persons crossing the Demerara River at the Region 3, Region 4 crossing will experience much needed ease of stress, right? Now, back to my original topic, right? So, yeah, Alfred Mentor, we had some counselors here on the program earlier in the week, and they spoke to this policy, that was basically forced through the council by the sitting mayor and the PNC councillors, right? Um, and like I said before, we would have, I would have said to you guys, I am of the belief that these people owe ridiculous amounts of money. So this here is just to help them because they can't pay the bill, right? This is to help them because they can't pay the bill. And it goes to show you that instead of they try to seek a reduction, some other avenue, raise little fund, something, they're gonna do these kind of underhanded activities. Now, like I said, yesterday the vice president and general secretary of the People's Progressive Party would have made us aware of details, in detail, what was what, right? So Congress Place, the headquarters of the People's National Congress Reform, owes the Georgetown Mayor and City Council, over 6.7 billion, not with the M, not a million. You understand me? $6.7 billion in unpaid rates and taxes. Now, this debt has accumulated over time due to non-payment, with interest and penalties adding to the total sum. Now, the PNCR-led City Council recently passed an institutional rate policy aimed at exempting political parties from paying rates and taxes or significantly reducing their obligations. This move is seen as an attempt to erase the substantial debt owed by Congress Place, effectively depriving the city of vital public funds. And that is something we've heard here. You've heard it from the councillors on the PVP side. You've heard it from PNC councillors. City Hall always crying out about money and funds. Always crying out about they're either unable to pay the staff, they're unable to pay contractors, they're deducting your GRE and NIS, and in some cases, not remitting it to the relevant body. Not because they want to, because they just ain't got the money. So in an effort to make salary, you do the deduction so that the money you're paying out is less. So you pay out the actual salary and you hold back the NIS and the GRE until you get the money to pay it, right? Now, as I said before, members of the People's Progressive Party, Civic, the councillors, I should say, the Armas, Chase Green, Jacobs, Dancing, Ashby, Young, were up in arms about this. They strongly oppose this policy, calling it unjust and self-serving, which it is. This policy only serves the PNC. I would like the mayor to identify which political party wrote to the council asking for this kind of leeway, right? Asking for this kind of leeway. But I have this man signing 2 times by. Okay, let me kick one. Okay, right. So I have Councilor De Armas in the studio already. We'll wait until I see the rest arrive. But like I was saying, the PVPC councillors strongly objected to this. Now, they argue that the policy is designed to benefit the PNCR at the expense of the citizens of Georgetown. So the citizens are required to pay taxes. They have been, as best as they could, keeping up with their obligations. Those who are in arrears, trying to bring it back up, bring things back into good standing. Why doesn't the PNCR do the same? Why would, and then, you know what I found was so funny? Yesterday, Alfred Mentor, I want to call at a press conference. Alfred Mentor run a live from some party office or in the compound of City Hall and had the audacity to say that he is not a political puppet and the PVP councillors are political puppets and dancing to the tune of their handlers. It mightn't be his exact words, but he spoke to that. Moving to the tune of their handlers. Alfred Mentor, are you forgetting that you lost the LG elections? Are you forgetting that it's only because of party paramountcy that you are actually there as mayor? Alfonso De Armas beat you at the election. If anybody needs to dance that tune, it's you. The citizens of the capital city did not choose Alfred Mentor to represent them on the council. Alfred Mentor was forced on the citizens. Now, Alfred Mentor, in an effort to probably be, if they win at LG elections again, to probably remain mayor, gives this big break to the PNC, 6.7 billion. Anyway, it's 8:20. Councilor De Armas is here, so I'm going to invite him on screen for us to get started. And as the other councillors arrive, we'll bring them in. Councilor De Armas, morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Courdel.
Now, since you're the first one here, this gentleman on screen at the side of us said, Councilor De Armas, he's talking about this, and then he's talking about that, and then he's talking about this. Let's talk about 6.7 billion. 6.7 billion. Wow.
So, firstly, I'm not sure if that was if this press conference in uplifted quotes was a press conference done on behalf of the city council, or if it was a press conference that was done by Alfred Mentor in his capacity as a normal member of the city council. Because if it was done on behalf of the Georgetown Mayor City Council, then this is a travesty. This is a travesty. Look at the setup. It's given comedy. It's given unserious vibes.
Yes, indeed. No, just give me a chance. Welcome, former mayor and councillor Patricia Chase Green. We're waiting for Councillor Jacobs to settle. He's here, but he's not settled. So we're waiting for him to settle in. But welcome, Councillor Chase Green. I hear your name calling a lot in a press conference, man. So I'm glad you're here to at least, give a response. How are you this morning?
I am blessed this morning. Yeah, the press conference was basically upon me and not the issue that is before them.
All
Because
right.
as my dear counselor would have said just now, Ling Show has started a bit earlier because you had some headless chickens fluttering around the place, saying nothing to the general public who is paying their taxes, full
Right.
taxes, and need services to be done. I mean, they
Ridiculous.
then look back at themselves to see the nonsense they did, and those are the representatives of the city of Georgetown. I am ashamed and appalled. Look at the posture of the mayor.
I know, right?
Huh?
That's
You're not
that's
you're
why.
not you're not you're not by Bam Bam Ali or somewhere. You're presenting yourself to the citizens as persons who would have and not even voted to elect you because you weren't voted. You didn't win your constituency. You lost your constituency to another councillor, to a PPP councillor. Are you trying to decry that councillor? Huh? What is
Well,
wrong
well,
with these
I,
people?
I want to be clear. I didn't take any offense at Mayor Mentor's ad hominem attacks. I took no offense. In fact, I found them quite funny. Uh, the fact that he thinks that councillors are meant to focus on singular issues when there's so many issues that plague the city. He went to pains to paint me as not focusing on a single issue and jumping from issue to issue. Of course, we have to jump from issue to issue. The city is beset by a number of failures for 58 years.
Yeah, yeah.
I, I,
No,
I don't see what's wrong with that.
give me a chance to welcome Councillor Jacobs, who was labeled as a disappointment. Councillor, welcome. I hope you don't disappoint the mayor again this morning.
Morning, Cordell. Morning, fellow counselors. Morning to listeners, viewers. Um, if you're going to label me as a disappointment to, if he feels that I'm a disappointment to him, I'm okay with that. Once the truth and the facts come out, I'm okay with that. The
Yeah,
important thing for me as a counselor is representing the people. So if you're going to say that if I represent the people is disappointing to you, well, so be it,
yeah, yeah. No,
right?
let me start with. Go ahead, go ahead.
I mean, yesterday's press conference was very mediocre. It's something that we obviously associate with them now. Like everything that they do, very mediocre. Very
Yeah,
ad hoc. And if you listen to yesterday's interview, or I don't think I can actually call it a press conference. So we'll just call it a press. So it was basically complaining or basically blaming or basically trying to destroy people's character and integrity. And we as PB counselors, we don't need to do that. What we
mm,
do is basically contribute in a positive way whenever there is council meeting, and we deal with the facts. And the facts are clear in front of us why they wanted to do this
right.
for that close to or over $6.7 billion.
Yeah, yeah. No, Councillor Chase Green. Like I said, your name was called a lot in this like the Councillor Jacobs. We're not gonna call it a press conference because it would look like a full bottom house operation. No, could you bring some clarity to some of the stuff that the mayor was alluding to yesterday in relation to this policy that was passed at the council there?
Well, as I said to you, as far as I can recall, and yes, I'm there for a number of years.
Uh-huh.
If there were discussions, and he said since 2009,
Mm,
that would have been under the finance chairman Robert Williams. And if they did discuss it, and I tried to get some information yesterday, for the institutional rate was to be introduced for private schools that were popping up all over the place.
okay.
Instead of exempting them totally from not paying because they were making a profit, that they would pay the institutional rate along with unions and some other things. And there was a committee I was reminded yesterday that was set up to deal with it. If it was gazetted after that thing, because he said it wasn't, it was gazetted in 2016 under my tenure. I cannot recall that, but if it was, he did not bring the proof yesterday to show us, well, look, it was gazetted and this is what is gazetted.
Right.
And if it was gazetted, why did you not say to the council when you first brought it to the council's attention that, look, in doing my research as mayor and looking at all these institutional rates that we want to introduce, I would have found that previous councils would have discussed it, debated it, and agreed upon X, Y, and Z and had it gazetted. And this is what we have gazetted. None of that was done. None of that was done. But yesterday at the talk show, they mentioned it. I would like to see what was gazetted as compared to what is being presented to the council with political parties. For political parties to be given that amount. Because if it was gazetted, all you had to do was to introduce it, not bring a policy to the council.
Indeed. No,
right? And that's a fact. If it was gazetted, bring the gazetted document and let's see what was gazetted. But I cannot recall offhand, and I did call a few previous senior officers to recall, and they said to me, look, yeah, we did have discussions of it on the Robert Williams and so, but they also can't recall if it was gazetted. And if it was gazetted, if it was introduced to the council. But again, I will say the council is a continuous work. And when I leave, somebody else takes over the work. When he leaves, somebody else will take over the work. So I don't understand it to pinpoint it directly, to blame me that I gazetted it. I alone don't do anything. It's the council does it with a majority decision.
I want to cut you. My question is this. He's claiming that you gazetted it. You were not the last, the penultimate mayor, right? There was a mayor after you. So if there was a mayor after you, under the APNU tenure, why wasn't it enacted or enforced? Why does it need to come back to the council now?
Well, that is what I'm saying also. And why was it used even before me? If it was gazetted, if it was gazetted, I can't recall using it. And why did it was not used during the other mayor tenure? And if it is gazetted, why is there a need for a policy for political parties? Why is there the policy for political parties? I don't understand.
Councillor Alfonso, I want to jump over to you here. Now, during the GAF show yesterday, it made it seem like there is a even number, or there is a more than one PPP councillor on all of these committees, because it was said it was sent to committees and they are on the committees. Now, could you just make it clear to the viewing public and listening public here, what is the kind of representation PPP councillors actually have on these committees? And is there any committee that operates, under the city council that has PPP councillors that can either tie a vote or vote to change something or make any sort of change at all in relation to policy brought forward by the PNC councillors? You might.
Mike.
Absolutely not. There's not a single committee in council right now where there are enough PPP councillors to make a difference with the vote. In fact, there are a number of committees where we're completely excluded, where we don't have a say. Where so let's make that clear. And the mayor makes it seem as if all the councillors, he says, I heard in his gaffe, he says, oh, the councillors have discussions and so on. But that is fluff. That is fluff. While it's true that PPP councillors give their input, because we are there to give our input, but when it comes down to it, our vote doesn't count. You clearly saw how they bullied through that policy on Monday night. That is what happens. That is precisely what happens at at the level of every committee meeting where we have some level of representation. The finance committee, for example, where Councillor Don Singh is the sole PPP member on that committee. That committee is made up of 7 councillors, 6 PNC councillors and one PPP councillor. So you tell me what difference that would make. It's all talk about kumbaya and holding hands and we're all one council, but no, the PPP councillors clearly have a different vision, clearly have different priorities for the residents and citizens of Georgetown. And this is almost always borne out when things come to a vote.
Right.
Unfortunately, we're always outvoted.
Yeah. Councillor Jacobs, no, yes, at the talk show yesterday, the mayor spoke about PNC councillors willing to work with PPP councillors and being bipartisan. I've been to the council meeting, and I know that that's not true. But he also spoke about you and your counterparts stymieing progress and stopping development and blocking everything. Speak to this to me, and in terms of when the mayor says blocking things, what is he talking about?
That's a clear case of him being disingenuous. We don't block anything, and I want people to know there's been a number of occasions that council or administration, when they want to execute a specific task and they need help, we step in as councillors, as PPP councillors, and assist to get stuff done for the citizens with our own finances. And I want that to be known so that they understand what we and how we view the development. So when person is going to talk about blocking, it's a total lie. And let me see again what the government does. And this is what we advocate for. We as PPC councillors, we go to these different ministries and we ask and we plead and we say, listen, this is what's happening in our community. How can you help? And you see roads being done. You see drainage works. You see even assistance to the public health department in the main city council. You see even assistance from the Guyana police force in terms of providing training. You see the public service providing training. So when they're talking about blocking, listen, if you're going to create a policy that can benefit all citizens, we don't have an issue with that. But if you're going to first bring an amnesty program that it will speak directly to whoever you favor, and it's not a structured amnesty program, that you're going to have backroom deals, we're going to have an issue with that. If you're going to bring this institutional rate policy that will benefit political parties who sit or are placed as councillors because they represent a political party, and then decide on a taxation policy, we'll have issues with that. So it's not stymieing or stopping anything. It's being practical, making sure that we carry out our core principles and values, representing a party who has a brand or a style that coincides with people-centered development. It's putting those things out. It's not stopping anything. We want to see the development, and hence again, that's why we continuously push for development and try and make contributions. But just before I finish, Courdel, something that I want to put to rest. Yesterday, I heard the mayor spoke about, myself being involved in discussions surrounding this particular matter. Courdel, I joined the main city council last year, August, after coming out of a sporting environment and also a business environment. In a different environment. So what you will do then, Courdel, you will sit, you will learn, you will observe, and then you will make informed decisions. So when a particular councillor or anyone raises any particular issue, what should I do? Listen, analyze, and then make a decision. You don't just shut it down. So you surround it with the deliberations, and then you move, and then you make a decision. So what had happened when this issue was raised at full council, and my good councillor said to the mayor, and this happens very often in terms of Councillor Green having to basically teach the mayor, tell the mayor what's right, as in school him. Ms. Green, I think you should actually open a school and try and teach
mayoral school.
Teach. So what we did then, it went to the committee, And coincidentally, I was at that meeting. I'm not sure if it was a joint finance and city works committee, because I'm a part of the city works committee, and I try to make myself available for those meetings all every single time. So it was brought up, and we said, listen, this thing needs more deliberation. We're not shutting it down, but we need more deliberation. We need to speak a little bit more about it. We need to understand what you're trying to achieve. And again, what myself and Councillor Dancing did is, after listening to them and saying, listen, this and this and this should happen, or this should be a part of what you're trying to do, bring it back to this committee. Let's have a discussion. But in the meantime, we wanted to do our own investigation so that we understand why they're bringing this document to us, so that we can grasp that knowledge. Then we saw it Monday at full council meeting, and we were against it totally. You know, I'm not. You should have been there, and you know how we operate when we were against things, especially in council. I mean, you've seen how we operate. We were against it, and one of the things that he failed to mention is that it went to a vote, and he speak to minutes. I would like him to present the minutes of that voting session, where it was 11 PPP councillors against that decision, and all of the other councillors on his side wanted that policy to pass. He should show us that, instead of speaking about minutes in front of him. Bring that forward.
No, Councillor Chase Green, as Councillor Jacob said, you're often having to rebuff the sitting mayor in terms of processes and you know, things in relation to how the council decisions and operations should go. I mean, this is not his first rodeo sitting on the city council. What are your thoughts on this mayor and his continued breach of process and protocol? Mike, your mic.
It's a norm for their behavior pattern, the way it's happening. Not only with him, but with the previous mayor. They think because they're mayor, they have the authority to do and say whatever they want. They don't follow the protocol, and oftentimes don't follow 2801. And so therefore the procedures, even the standard procedure, our agenda has a standard. And many times he wants to bring matters that can be brought under his announcements. He wants to bring it before, which should not happen, before the minutes. And the law quite clearly says that no order of the day can move forward until you would have approved the minutes of the previous meeting. Oftentimes you have to tell this man, no, you cannot do that. You have to do the minutes first, approve the minutes, then go forward with whatever. But that's the behavior pattern. They want to bully their way through every single thing. And because they have a majority, and I could say I was with them, I know the manner in which they behave. Because they have the majority, they push forward. They don't give. I would say, as mayor, all the PPP councillors who would have sat under me were given an opportunity to speak whenever they put the hand up. Every single councillor was given that opportunity. We had one problem with one councillor at one time, and we used the law against it. But every time you put your hands up, and now it's going to be worse because they're not going to allow us to speak. He uses that. Oh, I don't have time to listen to that. I'm moving on with this. I'm moving on with that. That's the behavior. They bully the way through because they have a majority vote.
Yeah. Councillor Diarmas, we heard from Councillor Saul yesterday. I think he's the head. Was it Councillor Saul, the head of the finance committee?
Yes, correct.
Saul. So we heard from him yesterday. I, in my personal opinion, I don't have confidence with him in relation to finances. He looks like a very iffy guy. But he too spoke about PPPC councillors stymieing the progress of the council. Now, as somebody who is at statutory every meeting, what progress has the council put forward that you see or you could relate to that the PPP councils could be stopping? Because I've not heard about any projects coming out of city council of any significance. So what is it that y'all are actually stopping and blocking?
Cordell, how can we possibly stymie any sort of development when we don't have a majority to outvote their decisions? This is the same
Right.
councillor who is the chair of the finance committee of the city, who failed to bring a budget on time, and when he brought that budget to the council, it was improperly done. That budget made zero provisions for the servicing of any debts. It's a budget that is based in fantasy. And that is why now, when things need to be done, there's no money, because they were just budgeted. They were just put there with no real plan. He came to the council and presented a budget that was, he came and he basically sang kumbaya to us councillors and said, yes, everything is going to be all right. We're going to put all these things in place to collect all these revenues, but nothing of the sort has been done. And actually the facts bear that out. If you look at every treasurer's department report that has come to council for the year, the figure for capital expenditures is zero. That means that the council has only for the life of the council that we've been on, they have done zero investments in anything. Zero. That is a dire indictment on the policy that guides the city's progress and city's future. It means that we're spending every single thing that we earn on operating expenses. That is, if you do that as a business, you're going to ruin yourself. You're going to run bankrupt. To spend everything that you make, the vice president calls that eating everything. You eat everything and you don't make any investments. Zero, Courdel, zero, and that tells a worrying tale about the progress of the city. A worrying tale. How many months has it been since we've been promised that the kitty market, for example, is going to reopen? Small things like that. The city council does not have a good enough handle on those things. Things. And those councillors, Councillor Saul, Councillor Hines never says anything of consequence. He's shut down by both his side and our side. So there's nothing of consequence to be said there. Those councillors have as the finance committee chair, as the mayor of Georgetown, and while Councillor Hines, I believe, is the chair of the solid waste.
Solid waste.
They are the ones who have the worst track record. As the chair of the finance committee, you bring a budget to council 6, 7 months, 8 months after it was statutorily due, and then you stand up and you cry and you wax eloquent about how central government is stymieing the work of council and how they're violating the Fiscal Transfers Act, when it is your responsibility as the finance committee chair to ensure that the council meets the statutory requirements to be eligible for those subventions. Right? You have failed in your duty. You have failed. Don't go on a press conference and try to project blame to PPP councillors, who incidentally have been pushing week after week, meeting after meeting, for these financials to be done properly, to be updated, so that the city can be better managed. That there's a whole show.
Councillor De Armas, you're forgetting to say that we're in August going into September, and he's now coming with a supplementary budget when he's supposed to be sitting to look at the budget for 2025 for it to be presented, for it to be presented to the council before November 15th, according to law. But again, I would say to you, they're not following the law. Why are you bringing a supplementary budget in September for? Where is the money coming from? Do you have monopoly money to do what you want to do? You can't even fulfill the budget that you would have approved for buying equipments and all of that, because we were told that they couldn't find money to buy certain equipments on Monday's statutory meeting. But you come in with a supplementary budget to get money from where? And instead of bringing money to the council, you're bringing a policy to take money away from the council. And your line argument is very, very poor, because you can't say to the general public, you're going to put this institutional rate for the political parties because every 3 years for local government and every 5 years for general elections, they got to go begging cap in hand for money for campaigns. So what are you saying? The city council must pay for your campaign as a political party? No, the
Right.
city council there is to offer services to, to you. And so therefore you should be bringing money to the council and not taking it away from the council. Because I
Yeah.
could come with an argument and say, but listen, homeowners over 90 years of age need the money that pay the rates and taxes with the pension, need need it for medical fees and they shouldn't pay.
Right.
You're not
Right.
making sense with your argument that you're bringing for the introduce the institutional rate. And so therefore I'll say it again, we're against it. Bring the
So,
document that it was gazetted. Let's see
mm,
what was gazetted. If it was gazetted, what was gazetted? And let's do
Councillor,
it. And why wasn't it introduced all this time? Why are you forcing it out on us now?
exactly. Now, Councillor Jacobs, could you just remind the public what was the overall budget for City Hall for this year?
The budget was somewhere around $3.8 billion. But
So,
I usually call that monopoly money because it's not real. It's like it's like a fantasy. It's a
so
static
what?
framework of nothing.
Right. So what we found out yesterday is that the Congress Place almost owe double of the budget of City Hall.
Oh my
What
God.
6.7 billion could do for City Hall right now, Councillor Jacobs?
Listen, it can take care of the core services. So better garbage collection. They'll have an opportunity to do some roads. They'll have an opportunity to maintain drainage. So better service provided for Miss Sandra that lives in
In the back
Whitestone
circle.
or Charlestown or any single way. It will mean better service for the citizens of Georgetown. So I think that there is actually what we need to fix the city. Once the taxes are paid from that side, everything will be great. We can
Yeah.
at least have a start at the mayor and city council.
But could you imagine one entity owing City Hall to almost double its budget? I mean, think about it.
But
Imagine a City Hall
Cordell,
plan.
but Cordell, as far as I'm concerned, they have no intentions of paying any money to the city hall because there were so many amnesties. And let's be fair, amnesty started sometime with Robert Williams way back as Hamilton Green as mayor. The government at the then time never intervened because there was a structure in how this amnesty was being done. I took over as mayor, we had amnesty. The government never stopped amnesty by me. But there comes in 2019 a new mayor, 2024 a new mayor. But because of what is happening, the government had to intervene to stop it.
Right.
And so therefore they should question themselves and ask what are they doing? Because all those rest of the years on the other mayors, amnesty was done without a problem. The government never stopped it. But here comes, because of what has been happening, I as mayor, I may go in and sit in at a meeting, but I was never full part of the meeting and had anything. There was an interviewing committee, never done in the mayor's office. There was an interviewing committee done by the finance committee, set up not with finance members alone, to deal with people how you get amnesty. And some were given a 50%, some might have been given a 75%. Some all depends on your problem that you presented to the committee at the time. And then that goes to the full council. So there was a structure in how it is done. Nothing was ever done in the mayor's office, in Hamilton Green's office, nor in my office as mayor.
Yeah.
But it was done at the council level.
Cordell,
So-
I want to bring something to the attention of viewers, right, and listeners. So, at the Lapintier Cemetery, there are no available burial spots. Zero.
Right.
For a while, for a long time. So you had cases where people were burying their families on top of persons that are not even their families, and that is what you're supposed to
Wow.
do. Yeah, yeah. But listen to this, Courdel. What the chairman of the finance committee did, he then went with the assistant engineer, and then decided to do their own work. In what they decided to do, he sent out the city engineer. This is the chairman of the finance committee instructing an admin, not a council decision. He decided to instruct an admin. So what he did, he then went out to seek a contractor. He then went out to tell that engineer create a scope for that particular project. And then what they did, they brought it for approval without even informing any other councillor for any other input. That was brought after we kept noise, because that is not, it's an emergency, yes, and it it acquires emergency works, but it wasn't done in the proper way. The proper procedure wasn't followed. So again, we then said, listen, how can we just select a specific contractor? We need at least, or if you're going to select a contractor, it has to be a decision by the full council. Everyone needs to be involved so that we can then make a decision and then take it forward. Not Councillor Diamos or Councillor Chase, or Councillor Jacobs making the decision. Right? But again, we went to a committee meeting, and this is the first time we were at a committee meeting, myself and Councillor Alfonso, and we had nearly 18 PNC councillors record at one committee meeting, just again to outvote us. All we were saying, we agree with the emergency works. We agree that you need to provide space for burial, but the proper procedure, you cannot just say, listen, Courdel, come and do some work, and it cannot. We're talking about accountability and transparency.
Right.
If you're gonna live up to your principles, this process or procedure needs to be followed. Another typical case.
In cases of those emergency cases, you need to have 3 quotations, and you pick from the 3 quotations the best one. That was not done. But further to that, is I was told recently that even while they would have agreed on this hand-picked contractor to do works, extensive works is being done, and the council is not aware of the extended amount of money we have to pay for furthering doing more works in the cemetery. And so therefore, we await that now, because the contract, I think, was for $1.2 million to do some clearing, but they would have extended that portion of work. And so therefore, the council have to find money for that now. That wasn't budgeted for.
Well, Councillor Jacobs just said they have 0 spots. So what work are you going there to do? Bulldoze over the graves that are there and clear it to put more people? I don't understand.
No, so there were 0 spots available at the time, but there's space. So what you had to do is, you had to do some clearing and some debushing.
Okay.
Good. So that was the reason and purpose for the contract, but it wasn't done in a correct manner. And then you listen to these people go out and continuously say government is this, government
but
is that.
Councillor, isn't Councillor Ellis the head of the cemetery committee?
Yes, he's the chairman of the
cemetery committee. Councillor Saul, I don't understand what's going on there.
Listen, you need to understand, Courdel. Councillor Saul thinks like he's the Messiah, the great one. He was descended upon us to do all great things. He is like higher than all of us, intellectually, physically. He doesn't see himself as a regular human being. That is just my thinking from listening to his speech and listening to the way how he speaks. Like yesterday in the
Yes.
in the
He
press
said,
conference, you can listen to him. You know, I wish him well. I wish him well because I'm not sure. I just wish him well.
the man used a word yesterday. I had to go on Google. The man say y'all are mandamus or something.
Pathologically mendacious.
Pathologically mendacious. I said, what? I gotta go and see some knowledge here.
Listen, that guy is lost. As I said, they're like headless chickens fluttering around the place. They've now gotten a position to do something, and they think they're the sole authority for Georgetown, and they can do as they like. They have this notion that I'm the chairman of the finance committee. I don't have to consult with anybody. I'm the mayor. I don't have to consult. But the mayor is an ordinary citizen. What gives him his powers is when he sits at council with the mace. Other than that,
Right.
he's just a senior citizen. And unless they don't get that into their head, they will never understand. I mean, how could Councillor Saul or even the mayor go on a site or whoever went on the site to direct an engineer or for the engineer himself? And in this case, I don't think it's the city substantive engineer to give extensive works to be done. It cannot happen, but that is how they have officers, and officers are oftentimes afraid of them because they're
Right.
quick to tell you they're going to dismiss you and they're going to do that and do that. And we know under the previous mayor how many senior officers were dismissed, right? And so, therefore, as we said yesterday, and all people are going to school. You hear proverbs: "Empty barrels makes the most sound," and so it's just barrels you're hearing, sounds of barrels, empty
That's
barrels.
Nigel Hines. That's not Nigel Hines. Whoever is Clayton Hines. But moving forward, I would have heard the mayor speak yesterday towards engaging lawyers and this kind of thing. What's the way forward on this whole, reduction of taxes to political parties and just in general when City Hall tries to bulldoze its way through policies and things like that? What's the way forward in dealing with this?
We're gonna, Courdel, we're gonna continue to fight and counsel for obviously what we see as right as for the citizens. The 2801 doesn't speak to political parties, and if
Right.
it speaks to open spaces, it speaks to churches. But what 2801 also says is that any other exemption has to come from the minister. So clearly they aren't in accordance with the law. But what
Right.
we'll continue to do is fight and also bring these, issues, I'll call them issues, to the citizens to allow them to understand what we're up with or what we're faced up with in council. But
Right.
we'll continue and this for one will not be stopping. We'll continue to push, continue, and we're also asking the citizens,
Right.
let your voices be heard in this matter. It's clear hypocrisy, and you need to hold them accountable for this type of decision.
Yeah. Councillor Diarmas, in relation to this here, do you see central government signing on to this at all?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not sure how they're going to try and justify this and continue to bully it. But rest assured that we are looking at every option, every available option is on the table to make sure that the citizens, that political parties like the PNC and the AFC, that their interests do not supersede the interests of the citizens of Georgetown and Guyana as a whole. This is a clear attempt to do that, and we, the PPPC councillors at the Georgetown Mayor City Council, are going to do everything in our power to make sure that this does not happen. This is a travesty that must be condemned forthwith by every member of society, and it must be stopped.
Right. Councillor Chase Green, a little off topic here. Have you heard anything sensible planned in relation to the government subvention that I think it should be available to City Hall right now. Have you heard anything about that? Are they plan to do anything? Your mic. Your mic.
You're muted.
The $30 million subvention that is offered by the government, they had planned to do the completion of the admin building that would have started years ago.
Right.
The minister does not find favor with it. He says it should do works. We should find another project to do. I think in the
Right.
last finance committee, Councillor Don Singh would have proposed the garbage trucks to ease with the garbage situation in Georgetown. I
Right.
don't know if they would have agreed with him because he's one voice among seven. And so
Yeah.
that will come to the next full council for its approval if they did agree or whatever they have agreed to. Um, and I heard Councillor Saul saying a little bit of rainfall yesterday and the whole of Durban Street was flooded and they're doing works in Durban Street. That's not the government responsibility, sir. That's your responsibility. You have failed to do any works in the city of Georgetown with regards to drainage since you would have
Yeah.
taken office. And so don't blame the government. The government is stepping in to do what they can do. And it's the same
Right.
like the cleaning up on Saturday. The government removed approximately 700,000 pounds of garbage. And you were saying it was a waste of time. Well, if it was a waste of time and 700,000 pounds of garbage was removed and there's still
Mm.
garbage in the city, when are you prepared to clean the garbage? When?
Right.
If
Right.
we asked at I asked at the last ATEM meeting when were garbage contractors paid, even though we have a 45 days grace period to pay them. The last payment was it May, Council Jacobs, or June? We're in August going to September, and you have not paid them as yet. And so therefore, it's just rhetoric and empty barrels making sounds. They just want to be heard with nothing of substance, nothing.
Right.
Because yesterday I listened to them and all they did was a blame game, blame Chase Green for every single thing that happens. But I want to remind them that when they took over this city, they took over a very clean city. I had a clean cemetery. There was no, in the city of Georgetown at the time, there was no flooding because I cleaned all the alleyways and I had a maintenance crew doing it, even though it was contractors that we had to pay. And so therefore, they have to pay for it. You couldn't get a clean city. And the contractors, the thing of it is, when not this mayor, the previous one came into office, they refused to pay contractors. But during my mayorship, those contractors were working and they weren't paid all the money one time. They were given portions of money. Like every fortnight, you would get maybe a 500,000, but we got them to do the work continuously. And so it
Right.
was built up.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
they come and they decided, I'm not going to pay you. I ain't paying for Chase Green work. It's not my work, it's the council and the city's work. And so those
Right.
contractors would have taken them to court. And they were forced by the court to pay that amount of money at the end of the month.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
they were paying, they would not have had to go to court and be forced to pay all of that money. And I want him to know I inherited GPL, I inherited debts of GPL, GWI, GRA, NIS, and we were paying a little. How much have they paid GPL since they're there? How much has they paid GRA since they're there? In the last minutes, monies were deducted from salaries for employees for GRA, but it has not been paid over to GRA. It's written there in the minutes. They're paying NIS, they're up to date because people are retiring and they have to get the pension from NIS and all of that.
Right. Right.
But he's going to leave and those debts are going to hand over to another mayor. So don't blame me. It is the system that you have to work with. I try to do my best with the system and maintain a clean city.
Yeah.
And if they want to look at it, I had difficulty in paying staff, yes, because I had more staff than them. They have approximately 700 staff now as compared to nearly 1,200 or 1,400 we had in our time. And so therefore the comparison can be there.
Yeah. Council Jacobs, before in your wrap up, I know you're seated next to Councillor Hines. He usually has a lot to say. And I raise this because I like to contrast the two of you. The fact that you sit next to each other, you're very active in your constituency and in other constituencies. And when you contrast that to Councillor Hines, who usually has a lot to say about everything, but you don't actually hear him doing anything in his community. What are your thoughts on what he said yesterday in relation to this matter? And then your closing remarks.
Don't let us go to what he did in his community or his constituency, because it's clear nothing has happened. But let's speak to him being the chairman of the Solid Waste Committee. You can ask the administration. Ask the administration when last a Solid Waste Committee meeting was held. And we had a number of emergency issues.
Right.
She's clearly not functioning in a proper manner.
So he's a solid waste.
A solid waste. A solid waste. He's heading the right committee.
Right.
He's heading the right committee.
It's there for you to decide. But Courdel, what people need to understand and see clearly, I don't think citizens need anything else clearer than this in terms of the level of thinking of how people want to basically bully their ways, their conflict of interest, their what they stand for. It's nothing people centered. It's just to benefit themselves. So when they make these comments about the opposing party, understand that they're talking about themselves.
Yeah.
That is coming out. Their selves they're speaking about. So people need to understand about that. Like, again, I want to mention that citizens should join with us against this fight. I think it's something that they need to stand up for. If we as politicians, we're gonna ask persons to pay their rates and taxes. We're gonna send out demand notices for persons to honor their obligation. We're gonna continue to preach that city council is cash strapped, and then we're gonna turn and give ourselves a break. We definitely have a problem. Our PPC councillors definitely have a problem with that. A change is definitely needed, and I believe a change is on the horizon.
Yeah, change is definitely needed.
Councillor Diarmas, your closing remarks.
I'll be really brief. Yeah, at yesterday's press conference, if you can call it that, it was more of a gaff line session. The mayor said that that political parties, every 5 years they have to go on campaign and they need to go on to beg for monies, and so therefore they need a break too. That is utter nonsense, and I just wish to highlight that. Let the citizens of Georgetown judge that statement for what it is. I will end with that.
Thank you. Councillor and former Mayor Chase Green, your closing remarks.
Yeah, I want to remind citizens also that while I was mayor, I was never given any assistance from the then government. They never stepped in to clean any drain or anything for me. That's why we had to pay contractors, and that's why we have that debt. It's not like this present government is stepping in to do works at their expense. The government at the day while I was mayor never assisted the council. Never. As I said, and I will say it again, when I was leaving for a new mayor to come in, they then paid only the garbage contractors. They paid garbage contractors a large sum of money, both Sevons and Hurans, so that the mayor could take over and continue to have a clean city. But from then to now, the city has deteriorated under their leadership. And it's even worse now. It's worse now. And as my former councillors, two councillors would have said, that we stand to fight against it, that if the Miss Sandra in back circle is 90 years old and she comes out to pay her taxes, well, then the political parties must pay their taxes. And if it is gazetted, they must bring what is gazetted before us. Because if something was being debated since 2009 and gazetted 15 years or 16 years after and was not put in place 7 years after, something had to be wrong. And so
Yeah,
therefore,
yeah,
I'm just using the years that they brought yesterday to the table, right? Because if it
right.
was gazetted in 2016, why now in 2024 you want to bring it in? Bringing it in with a policy. Anything that is gazetted doesn't have to have a policy. But
But
again,
it seems
they
like it seems to be like the documents for the land that Seawall there. They're showing you the documents, but they don't want to give it to you for you to peruse it yourself. The Qatari
listen,
hotel are supposed to go up.
it's strange the way they behave. But after a period of time, you get accustomed knowing what they do and how they do it and why they want to do it. Because every time, and I keep telling counselors, every time you see they come to the table, you have to have all your antennas up. They
Right.
never come with a clean slate, never ever. And so, therefore, you have to be on the alert to look out for these things, especially when it is read from a letter addressed to the mayor at his opening remarks meeting. Those things you have to look at very, very carefully. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
therefore, we ask the citizens to stand with us to make sure that um, political parties pay their fair share. That's
All
our
right.
that's our problem. Political parties must pay their fair share.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor, former Mayor. Councillor Jacobs, thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Councillor Chase Green, thank you for being here. Please tell, I think Councillor Diarmas like he had to go. Please tell him I said thank you for being here. Y'all have a great day. Continue to fight, and we'll see you at the next statutory. It might be spicy. Trouble.
Sit down. I'm not recognizing you now. Sit down. I will
Sit
not
down.
recognize you.
Take care, Councillor. So that was some of the councillors at the mayor and city council there, breaking it down for us and giving us a better idea of some of the things they're dealing with at City Hall currently. Um, man, look, I don't know who saw that cake shop press conference there. And just like I said, just like the Qatari hotel, the mayor making a scene, he got transport, but he didn't want to show nobody the transport, right? So I haven't seen HGB TV nightly news to see if they have a copy and they would have blown it up to put it, but he's claiming these documents on the table are the documents. Well, we ain't seeing them, you're showing me nothing. Anyway, guys, y'all have a great day. Y'all be safe on the roadways. Don't forget, there will be the rebroadcast of the Vice President's press conference today at 2 p.m. for those who missed it, or even those who want to look at it again. And as I said earlier as well, there is the commissioning of the Schooner to Crane 4-lane highway, which is gonna be taking place today at Region 3. So you can look out for that live broadcast as well, right? Guys, have a great day. Be safe on the roadways, and you guys know, as I usually say before I go, it's all about peace. It's all about love. It's all about one Guyana.
We are a peaceful people, struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no trees.